The Pinkertons. Chapter 6. George was looking horrified. "I is so sorry, miss," he blustered. "It is not supposed to do this, it really isn't. Something must have gone haywire, miss." He pulled something out from his trouser pocket. It looked like some kind of remote control, but it was made from the same silvery, metal-like substance as the shelves. The buttons were really a series of jewels. George tried pressing a ruby-red button. All the shelves began to shake and to let out a high-pitched sound. It wasn't an unpleasant sound exactly. It was more like the shelves had begun to sing, but it was a strange sound. It was unearthly, like some peculiar marriage between whale song and the sound you get when a metal wind chime is blown about in a breeze. George hurriedly tried another button, a blue sapphire, and this time everything became still. Relieved, George turned again to Cynthia, who was still hovering in the doorway. "Me is so sorry, miss," he reiterated. "That wasn't supposed to happen. None of it was supposed to happen. This is a nice place, really, a good place, and them two ladies that run it, they're good guinea pigs, both of them. Really good guinea pigs, kind and gentle as anything, and they wouldn't exploit no one, miss. They really wouldn't. Not even their worst enemy. No, they wouldn't. What I mean to say is if they had any enemies, that is, which they don't, of course." George had confused both Cynthia and himself. He began again, getting down to specifics this time. "See here, that system, it was installed before they took over the shop. They has never used it, no they ain't. Not since the very first day when they realised what it did. And that's why they's always leaves this gadget here with me, just in case the thing starts going by itself like, and then I can turn it off, you see. At least, that is what I was supposed to do. But I must have had a quick 40 winks, like. Yes, I think that must be what happened. A quick 40 winks." George yawned and rubbed his eyes. Then his expression became thoughtful. "It was a good thing that train arrived and woke me up. Strange, that. I didn't know there was a train line to Haypepper. Funny thing that, me not noticing a train here before." Cynthia gave a weak smile. George, encouraged by this, continued. "Now, Miss Clover and Miss Starr, they would be horrified to think as a good guinea pig like yourself had been all frightened in their shop. You see, I ain't really no expert. I made that up. And I weren't really expecting no customers either, miss. You see, I'm just a-minding the shop 'cause Miss Starr is on her holidays and the good Miss Clover just had to pop out for something a few winks ago. Oh, I is so sorry, miss, I really is." George seemed to have an idea. He smiled. "How about you choose something from here? Something to take away, like, go on, missy. It would be what Miss Starr and Miss Clover would want, I is sure of that. And it would make me feel better about things too." Cynthia gave another weak smile. She believed what George had said. She could tell that he was in earnest, so she ventured, "Well, there were some shoes." 2 minutes later, Cynthia Fleurette was out of the teepee and back in the sunshine. The 4 little shoes were wrapped carefully in their green paper and safely stowed away in her basket. And 5 minutes after that, Miss Clover returned to the teepee. George explained to his lovely, gentle boss what had happened in her absence. Miss Clover was a little saddened to think that a customer had had such a difficult experience, for both she and Miss Starr prided themselves on their high levels of customer service. They did stock 1 or 2 magical items, it was true, but all of these were good magic, and they only ever sold them to regular, well-known customers who could be trusted to use these items carefully and wisely. Even then, Miss Clover would always go over the instructions for each magical item with the customer until she was sure that it would only ever be used safely and correctly. The Emporium never, ever sold magical items to strangers, for the Emporium also stocked a good many non-magical items, and indeed it was non-magical items that formed the bulk of their stock. And as for the Desire Distributor, that shelf-melting magic installed by a previous owner of the teepee, George had been telling the truth when he said that his employers never ever used it. Miss Clover and Miss Starr had actually asked various tradesmen to disable the thing completely, but it never seemed to work. So about once every 6 months or so the thing would start itself off, but Miss Clover or Miss Starr would notice immediately and be able to shut it down within seconds. Generally, any customers in the shop at the time didn't even notice that anything untoward had happened, and so no harm was done. Cynthia Florette's experience today simply had no precedent, none whatsoever. Such an upset had never happened before. Miss Clover was thinking. She wondered whether George might have been negligent in some way. She wondered if perhaps he had fallen asleep on the job yet again, though he had not said to her that that had been the case. She sighed. She would not tell him off. He would know that he had not done particularly well. He didn't need her to say anything. She had no desire to make him feel any worse than he probably already did. In any case, he had already done what he could to rectify the situation. Offering a small gift to the lady had been a good idea. "By the way," she asked him, "just out of curiosity, what was it that you gave the lady?" "Oh, it was a quad of guinea pig shoes. That's what she chose. Don't worry." He smiled at his employer. "Nothing magical." Miss Clover looked suddenly and inexplicably anxious. "George, dear, what colour were the shoes?" It's a difficult colour to describe. A sort of purply, pinky red. No, more a reddy, pinky purple, really. Sort of magenta? Yes, that's a word. That's it, that's right." Miss Clover buried her face in her front paws and groaned. George was confused. "What is it? Is something the matter?" Miss Clover answered simply. Her only words were, "Look at the box." So George found the box that had contained the shoes. Cynthia had not taken the box away with her. It wouldn't have fitted into her basket very easily, so she had simply taken the shoes away wrapped in the green tissue paper. The lid was still tucked underneath the rest of the box, just like it had been when it had been on display. So George now lifted the main box out of its cradling lid and turned the lid the right way up for the first time so that he could look at it. There was the shoemaker's factory name, Magical Mules, and the byline, "Spread a little magic, my friends." And right underneath that was written something else. This was the name of the particular design of shoe. He read aloud, "Melody Migrators." "Yes, George, Melody Migrators,"